Welcome back to Come Sis with me, the podcast, a movement fueled by the heart of women with a desire to experience genuine community that uplifts, empowers, and strengthens one another on one common ground, sisterhood. I'm your host, Mia, and today I think I'm just apologizing for ghosting you for 2 months. I don't know if you recognize, but the last episode was published on September 15th. And it is now November 14th. So we are almost 2 months to date from the last time that I actually recorded a session or episode, an episode. So maybe I should just start with apologizing for just ghosting you for 2 months. And just, forgoing the whole, we started something, let's finish it. But I do thank you for the grace. The grace that I just realized I wasn't actually extending to myself. So let's see, where do we start today? I started with apologizing, and maybe I should tell you where I've been. So for the last 2 months, I've been settling into a new city in Japan. My husband is signed a contract with a team that he's played with before, but it wasn't very long, and it was during pandemic when I wasn't here with him. So we got here September 13th, maybe ish, and have really had a good time so far, just settling in. But your girl was struggling, and I mean, unlike before. And my thought was that, I had this grand idea of what I was going to do with this podcast and where we were going to go and what was going to be built. I thought I had this good vision and strategy in place. And then I, was asked to move, but not really. I guess it was last minute because we were supposed to sign in August, didn't, signed to a different team in September, and here we are. And so I was thinking that was the issue. We signed late. We have to pick up and transition. I was home. I was settled. I really not really settled, but I just wasn't settled. Maybe that's the issue. I wasn't settled. We didn't have one spot that we were living in, and, picking up and moving and transitioning to another country, no matter how many times you've done it, is actually not that easy. However, your girl was like tripping. Unlike ever before. I do this every year, so you would think that I would have some sort of, I don't know, stability or strategy or system around this. And I realized that I really didn't. But what that did was cause like this huge pause. This pause and confusion where I was confused about why I had this inability to perform. I couldn't find the strength of even the motivation or the encouragement to, one, post on Instagram, and two, to even get up to do a podcast. I kept overthinking what I look like and what I sound like and what I was going to say and how I was going to give you this grand message, and it was going to make you feel all, encouraged and motivated, because that's my goal. And then I just, stopped. I just quit. Not gonna lie. I was like, I started it, but nobody really cares. Nobody's really listening. I can stop it and it won't be that big of a deal. Yeah. So, but I decided, instead of quitting in that moment, that I would just put it on pause, right? I had a great conversation with my girl D, that you guys sometimes see. I repost her page a lot, Color and Blow, because her shampoo and conditioner bar, bomb. And I can travel with it, so it doesn't take up much space or precious pounds in my suitcase or carry on when I come overseas. And I had a conversation with her, and she was just talking about grace, just giving myself grace, understanding that I just made, a big move and all of those things. And I left that conversation feeling, encouraged. Yeah, you're right. I did I did just make a big move. And I got sick. I mean, there were all of these things that happened when I first got here. And then but something just wasn't sitting right. I'm like, no, your girl makes this move every year. Like, why would this throw me off of all years? Like, why is this such a big thing right now for me? Why do I feel so unplanted? Right? Like, I just don't feel planted where I am. I didn't feel planted anywhere. And I kept making this excuse when I got here that I felt planted at home. But when I really thought about it, I didn't feel planted at home either. It's just more comfortable. I mean, in the States, I have the ability to talk to people in English, one, get around because I got cars, pick one. I could drive anywhere. I have I have my community, my family, friends, all in close proximity, and I could get to them very easily. And it just didn't sit right with me. So I went back over some of the things that happened before I left. I had a great fast with my two of my really good girlfriends. And then the day we were leaving, it was a surprise. Oh, well, it wasn't a surprise, but one of my girls was having a baby shower. And I really wanted to go because one, I was going to see her and get to just really love on her. But two, I was going to get to see all these women who I haven't seen in a while that I love and really, value in my life. And I was like, yes, really excited. And then we got the call for the contract that sent me through the exact city that everybody was meeting in. And I just could not figure it out. I'm like, why would you bring me to the city less than 50 miles away from the baby shower that I want to attend and not be able to attend it? I mean, your girl was thoroughly disappointed. And so I kept writing this down in my journal. I remember I wrote it down for at least 3 days straight. I was like, Lord, why? Why would you do that? Why would you take me there? What's happening? And after, kind of mulling over that a little bit and not really understanding, I don't feel like I ever really got clarity on it until I had a conversation with a pseudo mentor. And one of the things that she said to me was that I have this blind spot where I create these standards for myself that no one else creates. There's no expectation from anyone else that actually dictates this standard, not even God himself. And what that standard does is blind me to the great things that I'm actually able to do. That's in my capabilities of doing right now. I'll give you an example. I've been wanting to do this specific episode for the past 3 weeks, but my hair wasn't right. I didn't have the right outfit on, or I didn't feel like getting dressed, or I didn't have an outline together, or X, Y, and Z. But I knew what I wanted to say, and I knew that I just wanted to get it out and share with you where I've been, and just couldn't sit down and do it. Because all of these standards, all of these blind spots that I just put on myself, that you don't expect me to show up with my hair done, a full face of makeup. You don't even care. Right? From the feedback that I've gotten from this podcast, it's just that you just like listening to someone who, I don't know, sounds like you, feels like a friend, right? Which is great. I love that feedback. It actually warms my heart to unlike no other, because that's exactly what I want you to get from this. Mia, You're not going to cry. Okay. This is exactly what I want you to get from this time that we have together, that you're not alone and that you do have someone that understands the pressures of living in this world as a woman. Okay, so back to that tough piece of critiquing, which I'm eternally grateful for because it made me sit down and really write out, well, what is going on, Mia? What are the things that you actually are capable of doing right now and understanding and completing, right? Without this ridiculous expectation of perfection. And I sat down and really struggled to come up with like a clear, concise plan and strategy for how to do this. I mean, the exact thing that I was trying to work out, I was actually getting in the way of working out. I was like, okay, we're going to do a plan. I'm going to schedule this out because I love order. I love having a schedule and a plan and just understanding what's next and how we're going to get there and breaking down all of those different things that go into creating a system that really makes sense. And I couldn't. I was stuck. I kept reciting those words over and over again. Okay, I'm getting in my way. I'm creating this ridiculous standard for myself, all these things. And then I decided to actually play counselor to myself because I do it so well with everybody else. I actually decided to do it with myself. And I was like, man, talk to yourself like you would talk to your friend. Like, what kind of advice would you give yourself if, someone came to you and said the very same things? So my first advice was to write out or listen to the Lord and just write out some of the things that he was saying to me. And so he downloaded these I am statements and I've shared it on my Instagram, kind of where I keep them and how I do it. If you want more information, the specific details around how I did it. But I decided to let the Lord, download these things that speak to my heart and really tell me who I am. And in that process, I've realized that I had this overwhelming sense of sadness and guilt. So the question was like, what's getting in the way? Why am I creating these ridiculous standards for myself that's causing me to get into this analysis paralysis where I'm overthinking everything. I'm questioning myself. I'm doubting things. I'm literally self-sabotaging everything that comes my way. And the Lord took me back to the beginning of this year. And as I'm skipping through my journal, I go back to the beginning of the year and I realized at the beginning of the year, there was like 8, and this is not an exaggeration, at least 8 baby announcements that took place at the beginning of the year. 8. I mean, after the third one, your brain starts to think, is everybody pregnant? Except me? And I don't think I know. From my journal entries, I did not give myself enough space to really process what that felt like. Yes. And here's why. Joy and sadness can live in the same place at the same time. It's possible. Because while I was deeply saddened that my own womb was not filled with a miracle baby or a blessing baby, a real baby, like a natural baby, not like a business baby or an idea baby, that I had this overwhelming sense of joy for my girls too. Everyone who felt comfortable and confident and caring enough to share their news with me overwhelmed me with joy. And I didn't really give way to the sadness enough. And what I mean by that is I didn't take it to the Lord. I didn't have any conversations with my husband about it. I didn't share it with my community. I wrote a little something down in my journal, but I didn't go back to it. I mean, it took 6-7 months later for me to go back to it. And I just lived through it. I was like, "Your girl, you got this. You fine." And of course, there's more people that are going to add baby announcements on. So, I mean, throughout the year, there's babies being made, there's babies being born. It's all types of things happening, right? And then I thought back to why I wasn't allowed to go to the baby shower. And I just wonder if that would have been the thing that just broke me down. I don't know. Who knows? And maybe the Lord was protecting me, right? I went to the city. I was able to pray with my girl, but I don't know. Who knows? I still don't know the exacts to that. But anyway, so I realized that in this season, I need to adjust the expectations that I have for myself based on what's taking place. And I have to give room to what I feel and how I was feeling at the beginning of the year. It's taken 2 months to do that. Well, I guess it's taken more than that, but it's taken me at least 2 months to realize what was going on and what was taking place. The other part of that was me processing the shame and not being able to conceive and then give birth to a baby, and having to go back and explore some of the ways that I felt confused and the weight of the weight, WEIGHT, of the weight, WAIT, how heavy it actually is. I shared a little bit on Instagram, and as much as you can share without going over your little 30 seconds. But I realized that no one's asking me about it because I'm not saying anything about it. And if I don't recognize what's going on inside of me first, no one else is going to know either. My head is constantly telling me, like, this is a problem. This is an issue. This is a thing, right? And if you ignore it, it starts to affect you in other ways, aka not being able to sit down and do a podcast or write a book or finish a project or go to work, get up and take care of family or yourself. Just gets in the way. And so we have to pay attention to the things that are going on in our head, because take notice to the things that are going on in your head, because hell is counting on us to self-sabotage. Like, the enemy really hates women who have a vision and understand, even if they don't know all of the details, right? Who understand what's next, or at least how to get to what's next. And I didn't recognize that infertility, the sadness, the shame, the guilt, just the pure weight of it was causing me, it opened the door to self-sabotage. All of those things kept me digging a pit for myself that at one point I was like, oh, I'll just give up. I ain't getting out of this. And I didn't even realize what it was. And guys, I want you to understand this. My husband and I have been we have been on the journey of infertility for almost the entire time of our marriage. We're going to be married in 9 years for for 9 years in June of next year. So we've been married 8 years. So at least 7 years we've been trying for a baby. And so it's not new. It's not like, oh, this is a brand new thing. But even things that are aged, and feel like they've become stagnant are still very much a weed in your garden. They still affect the things around you. They don't just go away, right? And the fact that we deal with it every year, or every month, not to get too detailed, but every month when, your girl, the time of the month comes, you're reminded of it. And I don't think I've actually stopped to say, Mia, it's okay to be sad that you got your period this month. I just thought about something. How important a strategy is around my cycle. Like at the end of that, or even at the beginning of that, what do I have in place that helps me get through the sadness and potential grief of it, or even the guilt, because there's a guilt and a shame part that comes with this too, right? Feeling like infertility is a punishment, for my past sins, and unworthy. Like, am I not worthy of that blessing? Do you not trust me, God, with that blessing? So many questions that infertility dredges up, right? And to think that since January, all of the baby announcements and all of the monthly cycles that I've gotten, right, remind me of this. And your girl seriously did not think about it until a couple weeks ago. So that's where I've been. I guess that was a long-winded answer to what happened and where I've been. I answered how I realized it. What I'm doing right now. Well, I'm here. I'm showing up. I am deciding not to give up right now. The game is not going my way, but that doesn't mean you stop playing it, right? My baby's a basketball player, so I use sports analogies a lot. But the last couple of games, well, previous to the ones that just played, they were on this ridiculous losing streak. Made no sense. Games just weren't going their way. And I just remember talking to my husband after the game, and he was just like, we just do what we can do, right? We don't give up. We're not giving up on each other. And he had a conversation with his teammates just saying that, like, we're not giving up on each other. We're just going to keep doing what we know how to do. And prayerfully, it'll come out with a win. If not, at least we showed up. And I'm taking that same approach. I don't know what the end is going to be. Who knows? Right? I'm standing on promises. I'm standing on prophecies. I'm standing on prayers. Right? But I don't know the end result to the game. And it's okay. I'm just going to show up and play the position that God has given me. I'm going to be here to encourage, uplift, motivate, empower, restore hope, heal, right? Women who I come across, come sis with me, who come across me in counseling, who come across me in life, period. That's just all I can do. Right? I told you guys that I'm going to adjust my expectations of myself depending on the season. This is one of those seasons. Girl can't do it all. And I'm realizing that it's okay. It's absolutely okay. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to make adjustments. Oh, I love when my husband's first half of the game is not going so well, and then he comes out and after halftime, and you can tell they made obvious adjustments and in-game adjustments, and then also halftime adjustments. And then the second half is just killer mode. So I'm trying to make some in-game adjustments so I could get to this killer mode point in my life and not be paused with confusion and frustration and sadness, but let those things navigate and move and flow like they will. Like they will. I'm not going to cry because the game isn't going my way. I'm not going to break under pressure because the weight of the weight is, how do I put it? The weight of the weight is heavy when you don't prepare for it. And so the way that I have been preparing for the weight, or even the added weight in this weight, the continued weight, WAIT, is by fasting, by praying, by being really intentional about getting my community and keeping my communities close. I joined a leadership group, and everything but learning how to hone my leadership skills has taken place. I mean, just a complete breakdown. But what I realized is a lot of the things that bring me joy, I allowed to be threatened because I became so overwhelmed with the weight in this journey. And so being mindful of the distractions that actually keep you from doing the things that you do well, right? Like that unrealistic expectation of yourself, sadness, grief, all of those things. Give space to that. What is weighing you down? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting on something? Is there something that you have a desire for, that you've been praying about, that you've been seeking, that you've been searching for, and it's just not happening yet? I mean, there's a weight, WEIGHT, that comes with that. Give yourself an opportunity to process that. You can keep going, even if you don't understand what's next. Right? Pause when there's confusion. Right? Give yourself some clarity through the chaos, but then keep going. Pivot if necessary. There's no penalty. I heard that in my leadership class from one of the girls. There's no penalty in the pivot. Oh, love that. I love it. I love it. So I pray that you forgive me. Your girl has got her mind together. She figured it out. I am graciously working on things on my own timeline, right? Not trying to go faster than the one that was created for me, and just taking it one day at a time. What I decided to do with this podcast was adjust the expectations that I have for myself. Showing up weekly is kind of hard, but if I could do it, I'll do it. Right? So I'm not going to say that we'll meet every Friday. But I do commit to showing up, because I don't want you to feel alone. I don't want to leave you. And I absolutely love sharing every part of myself with you. So I pray that this was a great day for you, that this will be a great week for you. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Also, if you don't already know, you've got this, sis. Bye. Love you guys.